Hi, and welcome to Listen Up. I'm Brian Morrow. Listen Up is a talk show where we get the chance to recognize and celebrate student success here at MHS. Each episode of Listen Up will have a different subject to focus on. In this episode, we're excited to talk about the Middleborough High School Speech and Theater Workshop. Joining us today is the Director of Theater Arts and Middleborough High School graduate, Mr. Samuel Mosher. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Mosher. Tell us about Speech and Theater Workshop.
Absolutely. So Speech and Theater Workshop is what a lot of other high schools would traditionally consider a drama club. The reason it's called Speech and Theater Workshop and not Drama Club is that's how it started. It started as an English department program to deal with speech, debate, and public speaking. And from there, it grew into this robust program of fine arts that we have now.
You attended Middleborough High School. How has that prepared or inspired you to be here today?
Absolutely. It's done both. It has both prepared and inspired me. It's prepared me because as a student, I got to experience Middleborough High School, the culture, the staff, how we learn. And it prepared me because I knew what I was getting into, so to say, as a teacher. That's not always easy. A lot of teachers get out of college and they're not familiar with where they're going to be working or the people that they know. So being able to be a part of the community and a part of the culture for a long time has really helped me feel at home here. And as for inspiring me, it ties back to that issue of community. I was a lot of these kids, a Middleborough High School student like you are, Brian. So it inspires me because I remember the adults in my life who worked on programs like this and who led us and who stayed at those long rehearsals and helped us build the sets and directed the shows. And it only makes me want to do more and be like them.
What are the theater-related courses offered here at MHS?
Another fantastic question. So our theater-related courses, we have a couple of different tracks, as I like to call them. We have the classic performance track. We have Art of Theater, which is like an introduction to the theater world. Then we have Theater 1, Theater 2, and Theater 3. Those are for who I would consider the people who wanted to study theater and acting and performance. Then, if you're interested in technical courses, building, lighting, programming, scenic design, we have play production, which is our introduction level class. And then we also have an advanced level class that we'll be running for the first time next year called Theater Design Lab, where our juniors and seniors can really flex those design principles and take on more ownership in the technical world. Again, lighting, sound, makeup, costume, scenic, the technical world. Then we offer a number of electives, everything from theater history, where you learn about how theater has grown and changed through the ages, to theater and entertainment business, where if someone wants to start a business, they can learn the basics. Every student leaves that class knowing how to form an LLC and build a budget and basically go out into the world and become an entrepreneur.
What are some performances you typically have on your calendar each year?
Yeah, so one of our most famous performances, it happens every year, is called That's Entertainment. At the end of the school year, the whole student body puts on what's called a variety show. It's a selection of skits, acting, dancing, comedy, singing, all centered around a main theme. Then earlier in the year, working backwards, we have our competitive theater festival every March, where we compete against over 100 other high schools across the state to put on a 40-minute play with strict rules. And then we have a musical, which the musical and the traditional play, we've moved their schedule around a little bit. Last year, our musical was in the fall. Next year, we're hoping to keep it in that time slot, but the musical and the traditional stage play. So at a minimum, we do 4 shows a year: musical, stage play, competition, and That's Entertainment. And we're hoping to add more with this facility and this great student body. We're hoping to add senior run and directed shows more and more every year.
What are some qualities you see at theater students? What makes them successful?
Something I notice a lot in my theater students is their passion and their grit. And when I say grit, I mean their perseverance. We have students who commit. And when they commit, they stay committed. And that's all through passion and integrity and how much they care about it. They show up. It's hard. The rehearsal process for a theater student, whether you are an actor, a technician, a stage manager, a scenic painter, you're in this school sometimes from 2 o'clock to 8, 9 o'clock at night, working on what we like to consider a very professional, or at least modeled after a professional set. So we work hard, and that hard work and perseverance is what I think they build and what I think sets them apart from a lot of people.
What are some of the features the new Middleborough High School building has that support theater?
Absolutely. Great question. These are awesome, Brian, by the way. Good job, bud. The new Middleborough High School has 2 primary performance spaces. That will be our auditorium, which sits over 700, and that has state-of-the-art technology. I mean, that auditorium has LED lighting, a brand new lighting board that rivals a lot of Broadway houses, a brand new soundboard that is not only user-friendly, but it has so many options. The level of technology has increased, as well as a fully functional fly system. Our auditorium stage is what we always dreamed of when we were students at Middleborough High School. And then we have our black box theater, which has fully adjustable seating, a full lighting grid. It also acts as the theater classroom, so students can put on full productions in class. They can use lighting, they can use sound, they can bring in scenic elements, and our actors can make whatever environment they want to act in right there in the black box, live in class. We also have a third space that we've started utilizing a little more now that the weather's better, and that's our outdoor performance space. There's a full 40-foot cement and arbor top stage outside where we're hoping to perform a lot more. With the theater festival coming up this spring and summer, we're hoping to have full performances out on that outdoor stage where people can be in the fresh air, engaging with the community and having a great time.
When did you realize you wanted to teach theater at MHS?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'll preface with this. This is a good story. I never thought I would be a teacher. I never thought when I was your age that I would be a teacher. I thought I would be an actor or a lawyer, or I would go into politics. And it wasn't until I started going to college that I saw the effect great teachers have. And I came to the old Middleborough High School one night to help with a play. And I had a conversation with my predecessor, Danny Duggan, who was the theater director here for over 20 years. And she's the one who put me on the path to be an educator. She saw me working with the kids. And the more I came to help out and volunteer and direct shows and build sets, the more I realized it's what I loved to do, was to teach that next generation, to work with the kids, and to show them all the different avenues that the fine arts had. It's not just be a famous actor. That's the only thing theater has. It's, I can be a designer, I can be a technician, I can be a director, I can work front of house, I can be an usher. And the look of joy on these kids' faces when they get to make something as a team, when they get to make something together, that was when I realized that I wanted to be a theater teacher here at MHS.
What is your favorite part of teaching?
Oh, good one. I think that my favorite part of teaching is those final assessments. In other classes, you would call them a test. In other classes, a student might sit down with a 50-page test, and that's how they assess their learning. But how I know my students learned is when they get up in front of me and I see a performance, or I see a final project, or they've built a fully functional set piece, or they bring me a lighting design to a Rob Zombie song, Dragula, and it's going off like a rock show in the auditorium. It's those final assessments where I get to see what they've learned and they get to show me. Those are my favorite moments.
What are some goals you have for 2024 and beyond?
So 2024 and beyond, ooh, good question. We're hoping to keep growing and keep doing shows, but our biggest goal is more student shows. We want students to really take the forefront of this program and to lead it by designing, directing, by saying, hey, I want to do this play, it has a few actors, can we figure out a rehearsal schedule? I want to see more student ownership, and I want to see the amazing artistry that comes from a student who's given an amazing facility and support.
Last spring, MHS hosted the first annual Danny Duncan Fine Arts Festival. Can you tell us about Duggan and the festival?
Absolutely. I'll start with Duggan, and then we'll kind of talk about the festival. So Danny Duggan was the director of theater here for a long time, and she was my teacher. She started as a one-year replacement, never thinking she would be a teacher. She never thought she would be the theater teacher that would change so many lives. And through her career, that's exactly what she did. She changed lives. She found a population of kids that needed an outlet and a way to learn and to perform and learn about the arts. And not only did she teach them, she defended the program. She built it. She made it much closer to what they would experience in the real world if they wanted to go into the theater world. She taught high-level classes that you don't even see in some colleges. She reached out to the community. She put on shows that challenged the status quo and made social commentary. So as a teacher and a person, she was amazing. She was a force to be reckoned with. She would later go on to be the fine arts department chair for a number of years, meaning she helped guide other art teachers, from media arts to music to TV production. And she passed away about a year and a half ago to a sickness she had been struggling with. And it hit the community hard, and it hit her alumni hard, because it was more than just a few students she helped. She helped a whole community. So we thought one of the best ways to honor her was to throw an event based on what she taught and thought and showed the world, which was art. She loved it. She went to college in Ireland and worked at the Irish National Abbey. She married her husband, Ger, who she met in Ireland, who was a lighting designer. And before she was a teacher, they used to tour Europe doing shows. They would drive around, the two of them, in a box truck with the set and lights in the back, and they would meet the actors where they were going, and they would put on these big shows in giant theaters and in fields and parking lots. And that really, I think, prepared her for teaching. So the Danny Duggan Fine Arts Festival is an example of what have all of our students learned. It's selections of orchestra, band, singing, TV production. We bring out artwork the kids have made during art classes. And for a day, this school becomes a mixture of a performance hall and an art gallery. And people can walk through from the community. It's open to the public. And they walk through from the community and they see the work of these students. They see the plays, the monologues, the songs. And that was what Duggan, as we called her, always encouraged, was let's see what these kids can make. Let's see what these kids can do. Let's give them the tools to succeed and create. And hopefully the festival does her honor.
What is the next performance your students are preparing for?
Absolutely. So our very next performance is a murder mystery. It is called Death by Chocolate, and it opens this Friday, March 15th and 16th in the Middleborough High School auditorium. Curtain goes up at 6, doors open at 6:30, and it's the story of an old mansion that was bought by a health spa where people go to like vacation and get fit and relax. And there's a murder. And all of these different casts of characters have to try to solve that murder. So yeah, Friday, March 15th and 16th, 6:30 curtain.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
I'd like to add how supportive everyone has been this year, not just for the theater program and speech and theater workshop, but as a school as a whole, everyone from support staff to administration to central office. We do a lot of work in the arts. We do a lot of work. And everyone from TV production that makes talk shows like this possible, to our art classes upstairs, to our band and orchestra down in the music wing. While I don't want to speak for them, I'm sure that they feel the same gratitude towards everyone, to the students who make it happen. So thank you guys, and thank you guys.
Thank you joining us, Mr. Mosher. Up next, we'll catch up with a few MHS ST GW students. Welcome back. Joining us are Heather Fulton and Anna Erickson to talk about their experiences in speech and theater. What theater classes do each of you take?
Well, I've never taken an actual theater class. I have an internship with Sam, who's the head of the theater department.
I've taken Play Pro and a bunch of other theater classes throughout the years, including like Art of Theater and Theater 2.
Do you prefer to perform on stage or work behind the scenes, and why?
So I am on the e-board and I'm director of scenic design. So my entire time in high school, I worked backstage and on the sets, and then I will be like a stagehand, moving stuff during, but I do not like to act. Not a fan.
I personally like the stage better. I mean, it's nerve-wracking at times, but if I can help out wherever I can, I'll do that too, but I really like the stage better.
Take us through what it's like to prepare for a performance.
So me preparing for a performance, I would figure is like making sure the set's ready. So that starts like initially when Sam announces what the show's gonna be, and then we'll like bounce ideas between whatever adults there and like what we actually can do for the set. And then it's just building, painting, and making sure the set's ready. And then typically I'll pop in for a few rehearsals if I'm able to help the stagehand and figure out what I can move during the show. That's all that I do.
For me, it's all about like mentally, because I don't really like talking in front of people, but so it's all just about making sure I know my lines, and if it's like the musical, making sure I like know my songs and like just take a deep breath and I just like do it. I don't know how else to say or prepare. I just go right into it.
What are you currently working on in class?
So I'm working on, there's like this space in the Fine Arts Hall above like the tile. And so since we're in a brand new school, I'm working on making posters for every show that we've put on in the new school that we can hang there, like how in the old school there were those big banners that kids had painted, kind of like that, but on a very small scale. And then I'm also like right now I'm just painting the set for Death by Chocolate, which is coming up this weekend.
Performance-wise, I'm doing Death by Chocolate, which is this weekend, so I'm excited for that.
How are theater classes with Mr. Mosher different than other classes you take at MHS?
Oh, well, I thought you were asking Heather, but I'm not really taking a class with Mosher. I've like sat in on his classes just during internship, but internship honestly is different than any other class because it's kind of very student driven, I would say, at least in the school it is. So it's just a lot of independence.
It also gives like people just like the ability to like perform with like the different theater classes that I've taken. Also, you get to like learn all like the basic stuff, so it's very different because you obviously have to be in front of people and like work with everyone, but it creates, I don't know how to describe it, but it's fun. I like it.
What is your favorite part of STW?
My favorite part is, so freshman year there really wasn't anything that anyone could do. There was only one show, but like since sophomore year I've kind of been, I don't know, I feel like I've been given a lot of charge in the scenic and designing aspect, which I really appreciate, and it really lets me be confident in like the artwork that I'm doing. So I really like the ability to have a lead in that and be able to show, like, because a bunch of people show up to the show, so it's really great that I'm able to be a big part in something that everyone's going to be able to see. I really like creating something that people will see.
Personally, my favorite is definitely like the community and being able to like display what you like to do.
What advice would you give for any students interested?
Just show up. Well, no, not just show up. A lot of kids just show up. Be competent, and if you're not competent, ask questions. Because specifically in my area, with building stuff, you have to be safe. So if you show up, ask questions, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to be able to make something that people can use.
I think also a lot of people think with like STW or like performances, like the only thing you can do is act, but there's so much more that goes into it, like lighting, sound, and all of that. And I think people don't realize that sometimes. Some people are just like, oh, I'm too afraid to go up on the stage. But sometimes you can just build confidence with that, or also there's just a bunch of different things that goes into it. Like, and plus a lot of people are very willing to help out if you just ask the questions you need.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
Go see Death by Chocolate this weekend,
At 6:30.
6:30.
M18 News is a place where MHS students showcase their work in TV production class, including news stories and sports highlights. If you want to know what's going on within the Middleborough Heights High School community, be sure to stream the next episode of M18 News aired March 25th. Thank you to all of our guests today for joining us for our third episode of Listen Up. If you missed part of this episode or want to watch again, be sure to check out all our episodes on YouTube at Middleborough TV. From all of us at M18, I'm Brian Morrow. Have a great day.